What symptoms do I still have after 7 years? Well, at this moment of recording this podcast, it's been 7 years ago since I sustained a concussion. So this was in 2017. And I bumped into another scooter. I sustained a whiplash and a concussion. And it was quite a journey. And many people, they ask me right now, do you still have symptoms? What do you experience? What kind of symptoms do you have? So let me share in this podcast how I feel right now after those 7 years. My first year, this was the hardest one because I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why I was feeling like this and why it took so long. And at first, my doctor, he only mentioned the word whiplash. So I fully focused on that during my first year. And no one ever told me in this first year that that you could get a concussion from a whiplash too. So for everyone listening here right now, if you sustain a whiplash, you can sustain a concussion from it too. And I had all these symptoms in my first year. So the headache, the pressure in my head or behind my eyes, the nausea, the balance symptoms, problems, the dizziness, the blurry vision, the fatigue, bothered by light and noise, so much confusion, concentration, memory problems. I was feeling overwhelmed all the time. I could cry out of nowhere. I had anxiety, this shortness of breath. I was in fight flight all the time. So a lot of symptoms, and the weird thing is I mentioned all those symptoms to my doctor, but he never mentioned the word concussion. So I started Googling and I just tried to find out what was wrong. And then this was my first year, Googling, trying to find answers. And then my second year was there, and I wasn't feeling any better than my first year. I didn't feel any improvement, and I just didn't know where to find help anymore. So I felt so lost, and my doctors didn't know what to do either. So I was just the most lost person in the world. Then my third year, I went to Cognitive FX. This is a concussion clinic in Utah. And they helped me so much. I started interval training and cognitive exercises. And this really changed everything for me. This was a turning point. But I don't tell much about this in this podcast. If you are interested in this, you can attend my free webinar. You'll find the link in the description. So I will tell more about that in that webinar. So I was there and it helped me so much. But then in my fourth year, I continued doing all those exercises. I improved a lot, but I still have some concussion symptoms. So this was my fourth year. I experienced the overwhelm. This was something that I dealt with. I could handle a lot more, but it was still there. Also, the screens, reading a book was hard. I think I had a lot of problems with the emotional side of a concussion because I basically focused on the physical side, and this improved a lot. But I just noticed that the emotional part of sustaining all this, missing out on many things, also the anxiety, it was just a lot to handle. This was my fourth year, was the hardest when it comes to the emotional part. And then in my fifth year, I went to see someone for a PDTR treatment. And if you don't know anything about it, just Google PDTR and you will find what it is. And I also moved away from the Netherlands. So I moved to Bali. I just was looking for a place that was more rural, more nature. I just wanted to escape this rat race. And now it's 7 years ago. So I improved a lot and I'm still improving. The things that helped me the most in all those years was this cognitive training and interval training, the PDTR treatments. And right now, this year in 2024, I started with the AP4A method. And this is quite new and it's only known in the Netherlands at the moment. But I will share more about this soon. And this Epifora method, it's about improving the blood flow to your brain. So it involves 10 exercises that you do at home every day. And then you improve the blood flow. It's not like exercising, but it's more gentle exercises when you lay down in bed. So, for example, some exercises with the neck to improve the blood flow to your brain. And it's really helping me. I noticed the difference, I think, in the second week. And I'm thinking about getting my certificate for the AP4 method. So people who are not living in the Netherlands can also learn about these 10 exercises, because it's really helpful for people with a concussion, with a whiplash, people with post-COVID symptoms. They all started this, well, not all of them, but a lot of people started them. Over 100,000 of people in the Netherlands, and so many people, they notice that they feel less fatigued, less headaches, feel more calm in their body. That's what I feel too. I feel so much more calm right now. So yes, I still have symptoms after those 7 years, but it feels so much more manageable. I can go out for lunch, for example, every day if I want to. It's just about balancing between doing things and rest. But I just feel like I can live almost a normal life. But I just don't prefer to do the same things as I used to do before the accident, like partying, going out almost every day to restaurants, having some drinks. I just changed some things in life. I live a much slower life, and all the things that I do right now, so for example, exercising, going out for lunch or dinner, because I just love to do that. All those things I can do right now if I balance my other tasks too. So, for example, if I have a lunch and a dinner appointment in one day, I just know that I don't need to have to work like for 7 hours that day, because then it's too much. So if I know, okay, I have those appointments, I work for maybe 3 hours, and then I take some rest in between. And it's just about balancing between all those things. So doing this Epifora method, it was, it's helping me so much to feel more calm and to feel more like I'm in my body, and also with fatigue and things like this. So I will share more about it soon. But yeah, I just wanted to share that I feel like I am right now at, let's say, 90% recovered. It's hard to measure it, of course, because every day is different. Some days I feel like I'm 95% recovered, and other days I feel like, oh, I did too much, or I feel like I'm at 60%. But I think the average, if I have to say it right now, it's between 80 and 90%. And yeah, when I was in my first and my second year, it was almost, well, nothing, maybe 10%. And then after those interval and cognitive training, I improved by maybe another 50%. And then the PDTR treatment and this AP4 method, they helped me to go to the 90%. So let's see what those other 10%, if I will reach the 100% someday. I hope so. I feel very hopeful, because there are new things out there that I haven't tried yet, but I am always a big fan of trying one thing at a time, because if you do too many things at the same time, you don't know what works, and you might feel overwhelmed. So everyone, please focus on one thing. And I think that's an important thing to mention, because you want to know what works. You don't want to feel overwhelmed. You want to give a new treatment or method your full attention. So please focus on one thing at a time. I know when you're feeling worse, you want to reach out to everyone and find some answers and try everything that's out there, but that's not working, because then you feel so overwhelmed. So one thing at a time, and also one step at a time. So yeah, so this is basically how I feel right now. More about the AP4 method soon. And I hope this answers your questions. And yeah, let me know where you are right now in your recovery. I'm always available on Instagram, so please send me a message. I would love that. And for now, I wish you a good day. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I really hope this was helpful for you. If it was, and if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube, would you maybe do one small thing in return? Leave a short review or thumbs up on YouTube. The more reviews this podcast will get, the easier it is for other people to find this podcast and to feel less alone and lost in their journey. Oh, and one last thing. I would love it if you share a helpful episode on Instagram in a post or in a story and tag the Concussion community in it. Or you can always send me a direct message. I love to see who is listening. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time.